So I had just recently moved to Florida from Kansas. So I was actually pursuing a job at the Mayo Clinic. When I arrived there, everything was pretty much fine. And a few days later, I started having this terrible pain in my leg. And it was persistent and it kept hurting and hurting. And I usually just throw on an ice pack or a heating pad and like take an ibuprofen or a Tylenol. And I usually get on with my day. But it was so painful that even all those methods were not working. And I was like, okay, well, this is a little weird. Maybe it's something else. It was all completely swollen. And like in nursing school, you only hear that DVT's in your calf, like it's swelling, red, tenderness in your calf, and like not your entire leg. So I was like, all right, it's probably just a muscle tear. And I walked into the ED. The PA was like, yeah, it just looks like a muscle tear. It doesn't look like anything too bad. But he's like, you know what? We just have to rule out blood clots and send you to get an ultrasound. And I was like, okay, that's fine with me. When the ultrasound tech was like doing the ultrasound, she had this look in her face and I was like, oh no, it must be something bad. And then I got down and immediately when I went down there, the PA was already at the bedside. And he's like, you know what? You actually have a pretty extensive blood clot. I was having migraines every single day. And it was not exactly like a migraine because I have a history of migraines and it just felt different. Like no matter what I did, no matter how much I slept or how I positioned myself, it just was persistent headaches and headaches and headaches. And I couldn't eat. I was nauseous. And I had reached out to my doctor and they were like, well, we really have to stick it through because this is very important and making sure that we reach the therapeutic level so like that we can reduce the size of the clot and hopefully like in a few months or something it'll be better. And it just did not get better. My sister ended up buying me a little walker because I could not completely stretch out my legs. Like my legs were always bended and I was relying on my right leg a lot for support, but then my hips started hurting and it was just causing a lot of problems because I was putting too much support on it, like my body weight. So I wasn't able to walk, I wasn't able to get around easily. Like my mom or my sister had to hold me on the other side so like that I could go to the restroom. They had to help me like get ready for a shower, which was something completely different for me because I was used to being completely independent and not ever needing help. I've spoken to the hematologist and he was like, we really don't want to switch anything up right now. We just have to really stick through this. And I kept explaining how I was in so much pain and they had given me, I think it was like oxycodone, but I'm just not a big fan of taking those types of pain medications just because of all the side effects and stuff you hear from it. So I went in for the procedure and my mom went with me and honestly it was very smooth. Immediately after the procedure, I was able to straighten my leg out, which I hadn't done for like a week. So that already just like had made me so happy. And I even told the doctor at bedside, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can straighten out my leg. I was just so happy about the small things. And I went home and that day I was like really drowsy from the sedation. But the next day I was able to eat, which was like the first time I was eating an actual solid meal without feeling nauseous. I was able to shower on my own and then I was able to return to work like in a few weeks.